Oh.
Hi. That was weird.
Like a little shuffle around.
What's up, everybody?
Hello.
Happy second episode. Welcome back to the Maker Meetup. If you're new, welcome. If you are joining us from the previous Maker Meetups, we love to see it. Let's go around and introduce ourselves really briefly. I'm Haley from Artist Haley Nolan on Instagram. Kelly.
Hello there. My name is Kelly. You can find me at kellybelly62.
And I'm Ronnie Langley. You can find me at rll.designs or at Ronnie Langley on other platforms.
And I'm Annie from Annie's Art Studio on all of them platforms.
Okay, so today we are going to have a really special guest. Thank you so much for being here. He's a really awesome guy. We'll introduce him in just a second. But we're stoked to have him. His name is Blake McFarland. And if you see me looking this way, I'm looking at my notes, as always. You guys know how it is. So make sure, as always, to stick around until the end. We do our $100 giveaway with the Moss Epoxy's apron this time. We have a challenge for you at the end as well. And this episode's going to be focused really about you guys asking our guest questions. So I'll give you a little bit of information about our guest, Blake. So if you happen to be a baseball fan, then hold on to your seats because we're having Blake on, and he's going to be in the house today. He was born and raised in San Jose, California, and he has played for the Toronto Blue Jays as Blue Jays organization from 2011 to 2018, but unfortunately suffered a shoulder injury in the peak of his career and had to hang them up in 2018. So now he devotes 100% of his time to creating new artworks. He primarily uses recycled materials to create these amazing pieces of art and has recently been doing a lot more woodworking, metalworking, and resin pours. You guys have seen that awesome torso resin pour that he's done.
I have that.
Yeah, Ronnie has that. She won that in this giveaway. I'm so jealous.
You can get away with it. I have that.
Later. So basically, each sculpture that he makes can take up to 3 months to complete. So he works a lot extensively on these projects, and they have really amazing, awesome details. I suggest you go follow him right now. BM Sculptures. And then Blake loves to be eco-friendly by using sustainable materials and taking trash off the streets and out of landfills. So let's give it up for Blake. He's coming on.
Yay, Blake!
Hi, Blake.
Hello.
Hey guys.
How you doing?
Good. Thank you for that introduction. I feel like I don't deserve that at all, but it's
You deserve it.
so great to be here. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being on.
Yes. So Ronnie, you have to go grab that sculpture later. That was so
I don't
fun.
have it at the house with me.
Really quick, what did you have to guess? I forgot.
So I had to guess the original weight of the block of resin and wood before he sculpted it. And I work with resin, so I feel like I had a little bit of like the insider info on the resin. So I knew about how much the resin would weigh, and I actually sent a screenshot of it to my friend Randall, who's a like really good woodworker, and I was like, how much, like if you had to guess, how much weigh? And he was like, probably somewhere between like here and here. So I picked a number in between there, and I guessed on the resin and threw them together. And it was within the first hour the giveaway went live?
I don't know.
I think you got it right away.
Blake,
Yeah, I think you guessed the number right away.
can you hear us, Blake?
Blake, hello?
Anyway, I'm pretty sure it was within about an hour of him starting the competition, and he was thinking it was going to go on for like days or weeks. And I guessed it like immediately, and he was like, "Oh, it's over." But
You guessed it so
absolutely
quick. So that resin is just so insanely heavy, and something crazy that I didn't see and no one else saw. So someone commented on it that they can see the reflection in the screen of the what is it called? The scale. So there was actually I like looked at it. I zoomed in like 20 times, and you can sure enough see the number in this reflection. Like you could,
That's what Ronnie did. She was like,
You're such a liar.
it was crazy.
cheated. I got that before someone saw the reflection.
It was like 2 months after you guessed it, someone messaged
That's
that, and I'm
too
like,
funny.
no way, there's no way. And then I looked at it, and sure enough, You could see it like completely zoomed in. It's crazy.
Okay, well, I did not get that loophole, but I did ask my woodworker friend for his advice. So if that counts as cheating, I cheated. But I did not see the reflection.
You guys can share the sculpture. It's okay.
But maybe you can share on your stories later when you have the sculpture.
Yeah.
You can show people this. And guys, talk about like projects that we were saying. We want you guys to do a full project for the season, right? Something that's going to take you 8 weeks. All of Blake's projects take him months to make. So we're going to learn a lot from Blake today. And it's going to help you guys out. So make sure you guys ask all the good questions.
Yeah.
So, and if Blake freezes, I apologize. But Blake, if you can hear me, you can go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself. And you can explain your transition if you want from baseball to making sculptures. Like, was that hard?
I can hear you now. That's good.
Yeah.
So growing up, my dad had just a ton of tools. Like he just was Mr. Fix-It-All. So I would always just go in the garage and grab something and make something. So ever since I was really young, I always used to just make things. Flash forward to right around, I think I was like 16, 17. My parents had this painting in their house and it was of this koi fish. I passed it every single day. One day I passed by and I'm just like, Mom, this painting sucks. Like I could do something way better. It was one of those paintings that like, it looks like a 2-year-old did it. And it was just like this little fish of a scribble. And so I took matters in my own hands. I went out and I bought my first set of acrylic paints and I painted this like big ocean scenery. And sure enough, one of my family friends came over and liked it. And it was decent for like a first, it wasn't great, but it was decent, but they liked it enough to where they actually bought it. And that's how my whole kind of art career started. And it was with just painting ocean scenes on, all sorts of things. So that's kind of how that started. And then that kind of transitioned when I started playing professional baseball. Because the great thing about baseball is I have 6 months of playing baseball. And then I have 6 months of an off season to devote everything to art. So that was pretty cool that I had 6 months to basically do whatever I want. And that's where I kind of really got better and just started experimenting with different things, and sculptures kind of came along the way after that as well.
That's amazing. I can't imagine how much time you've had like with baseball and how much time you've had with art as well. So like, how do they meld together? Has baseball influenced your art at all?
Definitely. I do a lot of commissions for sports teams, which I really like.
So cool.
And I think they find me because of sports, so that helps. But the actual physical thing of making something, you wouldn't think they relate, but for me it does, because when I'm pitching, there's nothing I'm thinking but like the task at hand and what I'm actually doing. I'm not thinking of any problems or worries other than just throwing the ball. And when I'm making something or sculpting something, it's the exact same thing. I'm not thinking of worries or any kind of problems going wrong. I'm just thinking of how do I sculpt this or make this part look better in the present. And that's kind of how I really relate to both of them.
We have a request for you. Will you lead the Maker Meetup baseball team? Like, you guys because Lindsay is saying that we need a Maker Meetup baseball team. We also want a calendar going. We need a baseball team. We're gonna reel you into this. All right.
Let's do it. I'm in. Let's go.
Anyone else getting Troy Bolton vibes? Like, do I pursue my love of art or baseball?
Oh my gosh.
Troy Bolton vibes. I need you to sing The Boys Are Back. I'm going to need a whole rendition going on.
Blake, do you know what she's talking about?
I have no idea.
I knew he didn't. I was like, I just know he does not know. If he didn't know Gaston.
So disappointed.
Oh my God. Our mayor Ryan says, add him to the calendar. You're being added to the calendar. We're going to get all the mail makers and make a calendar. Matt's going to be also.
Lindsay also just came out with a great pun. She said, if you build it, we will come.
I like that one, Lindsay.
That's so true. So if you guys also, for the audience members that don't know, he is on NBC's show Making It. So that's insane.
Oh, cool.
Also, like, tell us how you landed that, how you land other partnerships and stuff like that.
So NBC Making It was really wild of a story. So I didn't see the first season, and last year I binged watched it. It was on Hulu. Both seasons were on Hulu. So I binged watched it. I'm like, this is a really cool show. After I finished season 2, a week later, a producer randomly messaged me just out of the blue. And I'm like, all right, this person must be like someone I know that knows I just watched it, or like someone's watching me right now. Like they knew that I saw this.
Yeah.
And so they just said, hey, like apply to this show. And sure enough, I applied, and it was actually a really long process of like interview after interview, and just, it was like 6 months of interviews and then meeting other people and talking about different things until they got this, like the 10 members in the cast. And it was just a crazy experience how it happened. Like I literally just finished watching it and then someone reaches out. It was wild.
The universe is crazy. Oh my gosh. I can't. And so for other partnerships, like you've done stuff over here on my little notes. I have, it says you've done stuff here with Lululemon. I've seen your Goodyear Tires collab and Clemson University. How did you land those?
So just random, I mean, not random, but I think it's key to have a really good website. So for me, I'd say 95, we'll go with 9, we'll go on the low ball. 95% of all my commissions come through my website. So I randomly just get email, and a lot of the times I'll just get emailed like, hey, come make a dragon, or a I don't know, like a unicorn that flies, or like just stuff that obviously like they're not being realistic here. But then sometimes you get like real emails from real companies, and that just is kind of how it happens. And I think it's just having a good website, being able to be searched high up in like Google Analytics and that stuff, that definitely plays a pivotal role in my work for sure.
That's awesome. I think so. I think it sounds like having a good place to direct people to, like a straightforward thing that they can land on and be like, oh, I asked him how to do this, or if he could do this right here. So that's awesome.
I don't know about you guys, but what I learned from Blake just now is that if I want to be on a TV show, all I have to do is watch it. So I don't know why the Bachelor and Bachelorette hasn't called yet. Maybe they have their own phone number, but I've been binging that for years, and they haven't found my phone yet.
How do I apply for Loki? How do I do that?
Yeah.
Magical artist, guys. They need a and I'm an animator. I can help them like post and like do all the visual effects. You know, like how do I get Blake pull some strings from?
I like how Ryan is in the comments saying manifesting.
Yeah.
We're just like, okay.
Yes, Ryan's very good on that.
Like Love Island, come on. We got this. Does no one watch that? Okay, maybe it's just kidding. We can move on.
One last question for you guys, or for Blake specifically, until we get to the audience questions. So the last one for you right now is, do you prefer your YouTube content and just how you push stuff out on there, or do you prefer Instagram, and what drives the most traffic?
So it's breaking up a little bit, but I got it in there. So Instagram versus YouTube, is that the question? Okay. So for me, I kind of have a weird Instagram. I'll tell you about that real quick. So I have like my personal Instagram where I just post like my family stuff, and then my like artwork. And when I was playing baseball, I had a little apparel company. I sold t-shirts. So this is super random, but I'm just kind of relating to how this Instagram's weird. So I sold t-shirts, and it was all ocean apparel. It was like surf, fish, dive. It was all
like a t-shirt, please.
I have so anyway. So wait, is it just me frozen? No, we good? I'm just like on ice over here, just completely frozen. Okay, so I had this t-shirt company. It was basically just my hobby when I was rehabbing. So I built up this Instagram called Ocean Primed, and then I realized, there's no profit in just selling a couple t-shirts here and there. So basically, my BM Sculptures Instagram is only 2 years old, and I just changed the name from Ocean Prime. So I have all these ocean followers.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm still trying to learn how to work Instagram. So for me, most everything is on YouTube, and I'll push like longer form videos and how to, and basically just show the full process of how I make these things. So for me, I really just like YouTube, kind of the long form range in that.
What do you feel about the new features on YouTube? Like, I know right now they're trying to compete with other social media. I mean, all the social media platforms are trying to compete, but I know now they have like this kinds of stories. They go live on YouTube. Do you use those features on there yet?
I haven't yet. I've seen a couple people that do. I just don't know. Actually, the thing why I don't do it is because those videos all have to be like vertical videos. Like physically, your phone has to be vertical, where all the videos I do are horizontal. So if I wanted to make like the same one, a story on YouTube, I would have to refilm the whole thing. So it's really tough to translate that unless you film them twice, I guess.
Kelly and I know all about that.
And I'm having that problem because I'm trying to go from like Instagram, which I film vertically, to YouTube, which is all horizontal. So I'm learning that process
I'm
currently.
dealing with that right now. I was filming a video between yesterday and today, and same thing. On Instagram, I use vertical because it's just more space on the screen. But then during doing it, I was thinking, I'm like, okay, it needs to work both ways so that I do a longer version for YouTube and it has to be horizontal. So it's a little like crazy, but I want to learn how to use the other features on YouTube too. I think it's important to take advantage of all the features that the social media that they have.
And we're seeing some good questions coming in about YouTube as well. One of them from Bunny Love Designs. Do you have all of the fancy video equipment for YouTube, or what do you use for your videoing?
So starting out, definitely not. I think you can take a really good video with just your phone. You don't need fancy equipment. You really don't. It's all about, what you're filming and how you're editing it more than the equipment used. I just use a simple camera. If lighting, I'll put lighting in there. But it's really just a simple setup. And I have a bunny rabbit that just broke in.
Oh my gosh.
You look
Love Designs.
Go hop there, baby.
So funny. I love that.
Sorry about that.
Another thing I saw in the comments that I really actually am like interested to know the answer is people can ask what's your favorite sculpture you've done to date.
I wonder if he heard us.
I will.
One more time.
I'm putting it in the chat.
Can you repeat that, please?
There, I got it.
Yeah. Blake, what is your favorite sculpture to date by Kate Wilkin?
That's really tough because almost it's like the newest project you do is always like your favorite, right?
I know.
For me, how does that work, right? For me, I think a sculpture I did about 2 years ago called World at War is one of my favorite sculptures. It's this 10-foot character made out of recycled tires, and he's hoisting up the world, and he's coming out of a huge pile of garbage found on California coastline. It's a sculpture that has like the most meaning to me and kind of meaning behind it. I just say that's probably one of my favorite ones for sure.
Where is that one living right now?
It's in my parents' garage.
It's like somewhere where it can make the statement it was made to make. I'm sure your parents really enjoy it though.
It's like covered up in their garage. It's so big there's nowhere to put it. So it's just resting until it gets the call.
Yep.
So this is awesome. We have another question here. And by the way, that's my favorite sculpture too. On the Maker Meetup website for like the blog post page, I put that on there. Anyways, we have another question from Rebecca Shemp. I hope I pronounced that correctly. She said, as an artist and baseball player, what would you say to inspired elementary students who have the same passion between both?
That's such a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh, can you hear me?
Sorry, no. I'm reading them now because it's breaking up. So, definitely. I mean, first off, you have to do what you're passionate about. If you're passionate about one thing, just go all in on that. If you're passionate about multiple things, then do multiple. For me, I think it's good to be in sports because it keeps you active, especially as an elementary student. You got to be active. But if it's not sports, it could be anything active. You can actually making things active if you want, which is crazy. But I think just especially at that young age, do as many things as you possibly can and see what you like. That's really the time to experiment and try all these different things. So just do what you're passionate about.
I love that. You don't have to just do one. That's the best part.
Troy Bolton. He
Yeah.
can love both. He can love both.
I mean, we all have all different kinds of passions. We all do different things. So I think it's a healthy balance to do both, because even if you're passionate about one thing, if that's all you do, you eventually run yourself out and you emotionally just don't connect. You need different things to do, you know?
Yeah.
But we had another question from Didi from Damaris. She said, do you still paint or do you just do sculptures? Like, do you still do the painting you did when you were telling us when you were younger and when you found art and stuff? Do you still paint?
So I definitely don't paint as much. I feel like I should paint more. But yeah, I haven't done it in probably a year or so, but I definitely want to get back into it. It's just really fun for me and just something that I kind of started up doing. So it would just be really, really fun to get back into that. But yeah, it's been probably a year since I did a painting.
Okay. Do you paint more than just landscapes? You were saying that you were painting a lot of ocean scenes right before. Is that still something that you really do? You paint other sculpt like human figures and stuff?
I cannot draw or paint a face to save my life. Like if I try and draw someone's face, there's no way it's gonna look like an alien. There's no chance.
Same.
Ronnie's amazing. Ronnie's great at that kind of stuff.
She is. I suck.
You need lessons, Ron.
I saw, oh God, I don't even know if I could get lessons on it. It is difficult. And it just takes practice. I saw a good one by Andrew Carter, and he said, what was the inspiration to use tires for your sculptures? And I actually think that I saw something about this on your page. Maybe you posted about it, or maybe I was stalking your YouTube, but didn't you originally try to use car tires? And they were just like way too hard. You couldn't cut into them, and that's when you transitioned to bike tires?
Yep, absolutely. So, so this kind of started with actually learning that I couldn't sell my paintings and make it sustainable for me after baseball. So I knew I had to be like completely outside the box, and what's more outside the box than tires. And I was driving by a playground, and there was actually a like children's like kind of serpent thing. It was made of these huge tractor tires. And that's what initially gave me the inspiration is, hey, these tires are just all over the side of the road everywhere, and I could just pick those up and try to make something out of them. So that's what I did. And like Ronnie, your research, I tried car tires, does not work. I brought home like 10 car tires thinking, oh, this is going to be a breeze. Let me just cut these and sculpt them. And no, car tires are all steel reinforced, so you cannot cut through any of them.
Oh,
and then from there, I went to motorcycle tires. And then, so what I do now is just bike tires, and I could cut bike tires with scissors. So bike tires.
really?
I know that you can cut them that easily. It makes sense that you couldn't cut car tires that easily, though. Otherwise, I think people would deal in flats a lot more often.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So you guys don't forget, you can ask questions in the comments right now. We're going to gather them all up so that we can ask them to Blake. So we see them coming in.
Yeah.
I think we have another one here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What advice do you have for parents to help them see the need for multiple outlets for their kids?
Definitely kind of like I said before is I think when you're young, it's your time to kind of learn everything, or try and do everything. Just give it a try. And just, you know, me personally, like, I'm not going to have my daughter just specialize in one thing when she's young. I'm going to have her try everything she possibly can and see what she likes and what she doesn't like. So for me, specializing at that young of an age, I wouldn't do. But again, everyone's different, and you can do what you want. But I like to do all sorts of different things.
Yeah, it's more fun that way too, because they can tell you, like, I don't like this or I do like this. I mean, I don't have kids, but I expect that.
But you have a fur baby.
Yeah.
So that's something.
He likes
And
the
then,
but he also likes the beach.
and we have a question here from Nash. She said, because your pieces take so long to create, do you find yourself getting frustrated towards the end and you have to push yourself to finish in time?
That's a really good question, because I feel like they have definitely done that before if they're asking this question, because it is so hard to do. Like, if you're doing a sculpture that takes 2 or 3 months, at the beginning, right, I'm super pumped, like, let's do this, let's go, let's get this thing done. And like week 4 or 5 rolls around and I'm like, oh, I still have to finish this part. So yes, there definitely is some lulls there, but you just kind of got to push through it and just see your vision for that finished end and how you want it to look, and just go for it. And I think also you can set aside some other littler projects in between. So that's what I do now is if I have like a 3-month one, I know it's going to take forever, I'll do a little one like in between when I get bored. Because when you get bored, you're just not going to put your full effort into that anymore. So if you switch it up a little bit, you'll keep you on your feet and you'll be good to go.
I had kind of a piggyback question on this one. So have you ever like started a very long, intensive project and then started another one and then just like never finished the first one? Do you have projects that you just like they sit in your garage so long that you're like, maybe I should just throw that away?
100%. I think I think all of us probably have that, right?
Yeah,
I'm looking at a few.
But
for sure.
I think we have one from Amy C. Let me get it up here. What is the most interesting thing you have sculpted with besides tires?
Yeah.
So you got it. Yeah, the cable. So a couple years ago.
Wait, what? What was it? I missed that.
So a couple years ago, I made this sculpture. I was just learning to weld, and I was all in on welding. So I welded this little sculpture, and then to wrap my thin metal brackets, I wrapped it in Ethernet cables. So the whole sculpture was this yoga pose out of Ethernet cables and like wires, and it was all blue because it's all blue internet cables and wires. And that's probably the weirdest thing I've ever worked with.
That is so cool.
I stalked your page really, really hard. Like however many months or maybe a year ago when I found it, I stalked it really hard. So all these pieces you're mentioning, I'm like, I've seen that one, but it was a long time ago.
We have a funny question in the comments. I don't know what he's talking about. So Blake, you need to explain, okay? So Blake, how long did it take before the crayon taste went away from the food you cook on the grill? Love that.
Oh my gosh, I remember seeing this.
I don't think I saw the final product. What happened here?
That's from James. Okay, so so I wanted to make a sculpture out of crayons. So what at least what I thought I needed to do was I needed to melt all these crayons into a solid block to then sculpt. So I just put it in a frying pan and put it on the barbecue burner. And little did I know, like crayons just completely go up like once they reach this whatever critical temperature. Like I literally almost burnt down my entire house. Like crayons went up probably a couple feet.
I saw the video. I was
down there that bad. Now I remember what he's talking about. But you almost burnt down your house. It was that bad.
It was bad. It was. I mean, luckily it was in the barbecue, and the barbecue was next to the house, so I just kind of wheeled it out and then shut the door. But that flame did not stop. Like it just kept going. I turned the burner off, and the flame was going for another 20 minutes at least.
In the comments, someone should say, "What is a crayon's flashpoint?"
Yeah, somebody.
Let's see who would know that.
So,
can we like give away? I feel like whoever gets that, we should like give them away some epoxy or something.
Yes.
Can we do that? Can we do that?
Okay.
Let's do it.
I'll ask for
besides our giveaway. Besides our regular giveaway.
Yeah, we'll do a whole other one. So
sorry, Mom.
Forgiveness
first.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the 5-minute craft videos?
Yeah, they're horrible.
They went out where in emergencies you can light crayons on fire and they'll burn for up to like 30 minutes each. And so when I saw you set that on fire, I thought of that and I was like, I saw that video. I wish Blake saw that video.
You have
I wish I would have seen that.
That's good for people in like hurricanes and stuff. You know when they lose light and they lose energy and stuff. Like put it.
Got it.
Is this correct? Did someone actually look up the correct answer?
I'm gonna look it up.
So you guys look it up, and I have another. Oh, there's a melting point. This is my song. Oh my gosh, sorry. I'm reading these comments and they're so funny. We had another question from Sparkle and Ice. What's the most difficult project you've taken on? But before you answer that, send me that video later, and we'll put it on our Instagram story because that was funny.
Also, no one has gotten it right so far. So,
do you know
that,
Kelly, so you know the answer? Kelly
yes,
knows the
look
answer?
Look in our chat. Look in our chat.
Oh, all right.
Yo, that's pretty high. I think that's the melting point, though.
Where Where did Matt find that? Google is failing me.
Oh, Matt, that cannot be true. Matt, that's too hard to answer.
Okay, what's the most difficult project you've done?
I'm gonna go to actually Ronnie's sculpture that she won. So if you know, I'm not like a resident. I have never worked with epoxy that much before this year, so I'm kind of new to it, and I wanted to do something that's kind of like, it could have been done, but I've never seen it before, and
I didn't
just
think like that.
trying to learn like how to get bubbles out of epoxy, and just do I do it in layers? How do I do this? I have no idea, but I was just kind of on a whim. I want to try this. I really love this idea. Let's go for it. And that was definitely a lot of trial and error, just on kind of experimenting on something as simple as just gluing up those pixelated wood pieces. Because if you have any wood glue showing, that's going to show when you put the epoxy on it. So that one was honestly, I learned so much doing that sculpture, and that's why I'm super excited to be doing another one. And huge shout out to all the Moss people, because I messaged them. I'm like, hey, how should I do this? And they were so great, and you guys were such a good help in getting that thing to where it was. And I'm super pumped with how that thing turned out.
Yeah, when I got, especially hearing like knowing that you hadn't worked with resin extensively beforehand, it looks incredible. Like I made so many mistakes on my first D4 resin. First of all, I exothermed the whole thing. So just that you could make that, and like the actual sculpting of it, incredible. It is the item of honor in my home. It's not currently in my home, but it is the item of honor in my house.
Yeah, that piece was so amazing. Now, did you like test any smaller pieces before going to like the monster size piece, or were you just like, all right, let's do this?
I don't like testing. I just go for it. I mean, honestly, like that's probably one of my downfalls is I don't spend time to test things. I kind of just have an idea and I go for it. And that's kind of what I do in everything. And the first couple might not turn out great. They might not work, but I gave it my all. So I'm not a tester. I don't know. As you can see by my crayons that almost burnt down my house.
But it made out a really cool bear. It was a bear, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
You guys, nobody has guessed it yet. And Matt said you've seen the comments. Matt says, search crayon safety data sheet. Y'all want some free resin? Look up that sheet. No one has
last point.
And also, Sparkle and I said, if crayons ignited at a little over 100 degrees, kids would be in a lot of danger. This is a true story.
They just want to
a lot higher than that. Look up that sheet, y'all, because we're looking it up. We're waiting for that number. And also, keep asking questions to Blake. Come on.
Oh, yeah, keep asking questions. I have one more right here, right now from TK. She said, how do you combat creative burnout or fatigue while working on really long projects?
Kind of like we said earlier, is just if you have a really long project and you could spare a little bit of time, you don't have a crazy deadline, do something in between. Do a smaller project, or just put it down for a couple of days and then get back to it. I think definitely just kind of taking your mind off it and stop working on it for a day or two, it would be a big help in the long run.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, apparently some people's safety data Crayola crayon sheets are not available for Flashpoint. But
we have someone that got super close.
That's
very close.
Come on.
Lindsay, you're like
very close.
On fire. Get it, flashlight, get it.
Crayola fire.
This is kind of an accessory question. So when you did the sculpture that I have now, how many gallons of epoxy did you use, if you remember?
That was 6 gallons.
Okay, and how many gallons are in the one that you're making right now?
9 gallons.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Annie, I love to see people like up in the ante like that. Our whole trip this season for our makers is to make something like bigger and bolder than they have in the past. So I love that you did that one, and then you were like, I could do that again, but bigger.
You always got to go bigger, right? You have to.
Yeah,
exactly.
I agree.
He's not even testing it. He's just going for it. I love it. So we have that fire video if you guys want to see it.
Yes.
Oh, yes, I want to see it. Yes.
Yeah,
you can pull it up? Wow.
Yeah.
It gets way bigger.
you like, oh my gosh?
Well, at this point right here, I thought if I just put more crayons in it or
Oh
pour
my
it,
gosh.
it would be fine.
No.
He's like trying to pour it out, and they don't even pour. It's just on fire.
And there's so inside my
it with your
mold
bare
is on
hands.
fire.
He's panicking. He's panicking. I would have freaked out.
He's
Yeah, I think he's probably freaking out right now.
I'm looking at you going like, no.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, you're just on fire.
Oh, you have a Bob Ross shirt on. That was a sweet
Oh,
shirt.
It turned into ashes.
Oh, hey. That's incredible. I am. I, oh my gosh, I'm shook and I'm reading our comments, but oh my gosh.
That's so right.
Andrew said, okay, as a former firefighter, I am shaking my head. No,
Oh
no,
my
no,
god!
no,
Andrew,
no.
did you, as a firefighter, did you know that crayons can catch fire like that? Like, is that something y'all know and just don't tell us? Because the hardest thing, like, heat up crayons all the time.
Firefighters are gatekeeping the crayon flame.
Yeah, we need to know this.
Because
Like,
you guys know there's videos where people take like river tables and like put crayons and heat. I mean, I know a heat gun isn't as hot, but like if it's that flammable, like come on.
yeah,
There's
that's
kids in danger here.
I think it's more so the parents. I really feel like it's the parents that are the ones in danger.
You need a partnership and sponsorships from Crayola. Like this needs to happen.
I think
Say
they
no
probably
to-
want to
Say no to fire, kids. Don't
they
use
want to
your
ban me after that.
They're like, you are giving us a bad name. Another accessory question to add on to the previous one. Were there lessons that you learned on the sculpture project that I now have that you are now putting into practice now that you are doing the same build essentially, but 3 gallons more?
That's a great question and 100%. So on the torso one, I had the wooden beams basically going, can you see my bottom hand? Going vertically, right? On both sides. I can't see my hand with the chat. Right there, right? So on this one, I'm having them all come up from the ground, so from the feet. So doing that, it's going to allow all the air bubbles to just release up, right? So I think that's, well, I don't think, I know it. It's right over there. It's way better. There's definitely less bubbles, and I can't wait to demold it. And I'm going to demold it in probably 2 days or so. I know, right? There could be some.
cool.
I'll take your advice. It might be terrible. It could be really bad in there. I don't know. We'll see.
And we have a question from Azrae. Now, this is kind of going to our social media realm because we'll kind of hop back and forth with our topics. So she said, how do you keep up with social media projects while having a kiddo? I feel like I don't want my son to always be seeing me on my phone, but I have to put in the time.
so we have a winner though, really.
James
Do we?
got it. Yeah.
James.
James Payne
We have a
Woodworking.
winner, right?
James! And he was the one that brought it up. Oh, that's amazing.
There you go. There you go, James.
So it was, the answer was
Congrats.
392 degrees Fahrenheit, and he had a little range there.
Yep.
So
Good job, James.
We'll go with you later.
And Lindsay was super close too right after, but James, you got it.
James, you're getting some resin. Congratulations.
Send us a DM, James, and we'll get that out to you.
Amazing. So sorry, I interrupted the question.
Okay, I will read it real quick. So this is about social media and kids. All right, so again, this is from Azrae. She said, how do you keep up with social media projects while having a kiddo? I feel like I don't want my son to always be seeing me on my phone, but I have to put in the time.
That's a really good question, and it's super hard. Like really hard. Luckily, we send my daughter to daycare, so I'm on my phone when I send her off to daycare, so I could then be on my phone all day.
Right.
No, it's really hard. You just kind of hide it, like turn around and just look at it on the side, maybe. I don't know. It's difficult, but
Put a blanket over. Just like,
Put your hood on.
No, there's definitely a balance. There's time where I don't have the phone around and you just hang out with your daughter or son, whatever. Definitely, we limit our tablet time. Tablet time is what we call it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's so funny. We did not have tablet time when I was a youngster. Nope.
I had
No.
time, I think, but I never wanted to watch so much of it. There was an issue. But now that we're in a new digital age, well, not new necessarily, but I can see how it'd be confusing for a kid for you to be like, hey, we have tablet time, but then like your work is on your phone and it's like,
Yes.
well, I'm working. I'm not just
Yeah.
in myself.
It's super hard, right? I mean, that you nailed it. Like that's really difficult to do, and for them to like learn that, oh yeah, I'm working here.
Yeah, or you can be like Bunny Love Designs, and he says my kids show me how to do most of the stuff on my phone. So in there, it's an asset. Having kids, they can teach you the technology.
Blake, do your kids ask to be in your videos?
No, so I have one daughter. She's 2. So I have her in one video, but that's it. She's like just learning to talk and run around. So I'm sure she will be in a couple years or so.
She's awesome. You guys, we have like 10 more minutes of question asking, so you can go ahead and add more questions to the comment section. But I'm still just shocked about the crayons. So
Yeah,
I
it's
would.
so cool.
Amy C said, "Save the toys. The toys in the background. Save the toys from the fire."
Yeah, I thought that net was gonna go up in flames. I was like, what? The net.
I'm glad you saved one.
By the way, when we were talking about how, like in the beginning of this episode, when we were talking about how you like, marry baseball and art and everything like that, just have to say the thing that you made on the most recent episode of Making It, the big thing above the fireplace, that was so sick. I literally told my mom right away because we're a whole Dodgers family, sorry, but we're a big Dodgers family. And I was like, we need this right here. So cool.
That'd be a perfect spot for it.
Right?
Yeah, you got a spot right up. That was super fun to make. And it's I've never made that before. I just kind of had the idea like, hey, can this work? And it's actually like, it's really easy. You just cut baseballs in half and just put them on the wall. It's actually really super simple. It's super simple.
Like the inside?
No, so you do have to get the baseballs have all different kinds of insides. If you get the cork, it's solid cork, or you could also get the cork and rubber middle, and those you could just cut right off or right in half, and they will glue on super easily. So
okay. But where do you get all the baseballs? Like, if I wanted to go out and do this, where would I just get a mass quantity of baseballs?
I can send you some, but also, I mean, you can get them anywhere, like Amazon or, everywhere.
Perfect.
I love it. We have a question from Ryan, who's our Maker Meetup mayor, because he just brings everyone together. So he said, having a sports background, did you get any sort of pushback or teasing from your teammates, other guys for doing art, or were they supportive?
I like that question.
Me too.
They were actually really supportive. And while I was still playing, I actually sold and made a couple of pieces of art for teammates and one coach. So it was actually really, really cool. They were very, very supportive. And, 90% of players in their off season, they do lessons. So I think they just thought it was cool that I was doing something different than baseball lessons in the off season. So they were actually really, really supportive and still are today. And it's just cool.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
I feel like there's less of as you get older, there's less of like a stigma to that. Whereas like teenagers might get teased at, but like when you're all adults, it's like,
this is pretty cool, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Everybody wishes they did that on the side and not get to, it's therapeutic. Every artist knows that.
Yeah.
Very therapeutic.
absolutely.
I have a question.
Oh,
Oh,
go ahead.
sorry. No, you go first.
I have James's one saved. We all
Okay.
know. So.
Mine was just going to be, do you have any of your like artworks in your house or like hanging up or presented anywhere?
My wife will not allow any of my art in.
What?
I have nothing. It's not that she won't allow it, but I have nothing. Not a single thing.
As
That's
you look to the
hilarious.
side.
I had one little like sculpture of this little statue that I made out of tires. And like I made it in like a month ago. I found it in the closet.
No.
I had it like out on the mantle, and then she put it in the closet.
She's like,
No,
get that out of here. It doesn't go with the decor like theme,
No.
maybe.
In her defense, it doesn't. It's the tires don't really work in this house, so I'll give her that one.
Happy wife, happy life.
Right.
Just make sure that they stay in the closet and you can go look at them.
Yeah. When I bring people over, I just have them go look in all the closets. Oh, here's this piece. Here's
Just
this
go
piece.
peek in.
That's not weird at all.
And your grandparent, or no, your parents' garage. You can drive them by your parents' garage.
Yeah, right.
Like, no, I'm really cool. Go check it out.
One of these
Take on a
days,
tour.
I'll have something in the house. One of these days.
Yes. Goals.
One day you'll make something and it'll go perfectly with the decor. So maybe it'll be your next project. But I don't know. James just said, what is your next project going to be after the tree table? So that's why I said that.
So the next project is actually the epoxy pixelated wood sculpture of a bear. So it's going to be kind of a motherly bear, just kind of walking, super non-aggressive, but really excited to see how that thing takes shape.
So cool.
We're excited to see
How
that.
tall is that going to be? I don't know if you already said that.
So I don't know yet, but I'm gonna say probably 20 inches
Wow.
tall, maybe 16.
That's
Well,
better.
16 to 20.
So heavy.
So cool.
So hard down. That's gonna be so heavy.
James
It's gonna
was
be
saying
real.
earlier, you must love sanding.
I hate sanding. Sanding is so
Oh,
bad.
Oh, yeah.
Hate it.
So wait, I do have a question for you guys. When you do the pours, do you sand over your final pour? Or no, that final pour just goes over perfectly smooth?
It depends on what project it is for me in particular.
Okay.
If I was doing your bear project, I would not sand my last one, except for on the bottoms of the feet where it would be like dripping off.
Yeah. Okay.
I would
Interesting.
sand the whole. Personally, for the bear one, I would sand the whole bear thing and then buff it and then like oil it up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for
I just
sure.
do not have patience for that kind of sanding.
I would have to. It would drive me
I
nuts.
know.
I know I would have to do that because that's what I do with the river tables. I buff them and sand them, and then
I feel like the river tables you kind of have to because of like the wood pieces, and so you have to get it look nice and even and stuff. But I think it depends on the project.
Yeah.
But you don't have to on an ocean pour, right? Like if you're doing it on a surfboard, you have that final layer that's perfectly crystal clear, right? You don't sand that, right?
Yeah,
No, I
correct.
don't sand any of my surfboard layers, even like between my waves. I know some people say that gives it better traction, but I find that actually influences my cells negatively to sand in between
Yeah.
layers. Just because there's too much traction, and I like to really push my waves all the way to the back. So I don't sand, and then I only continue to do more gloss coats if I get dusted.
if it's a real surfboard, I'd be sanding. Like
Yeah.
we have to, if it's a real one.
Yeah, and I personally sand in between every layer, just so the next layer of epoxy can have like some tooth to like hold on to that previous layer. So I do sand in between each one. But my final pour, I make sure that thing is like dust free. I put a box over it to make sure no dust can get in there, and I just let it sit
Yeah.
and cure.
Marinate.
Nice.
Yeah.
One more question.
One more question, and then we'll wrap it up and announce the giveaway winner.
Yeah, so of course, again, from Ryan, the guy that brings everybody together, he's asking, are you doing any sort of mentoring or helping encourage other boys growing up to get into or try out art?
Another great question. I'm currently not, but that does sound like something I definitely want to do in the near future. Even if it's like having a class or like going somewhere and just doing a lesson, that's definitely something I'm interested in. So if you guys know of anywhere to do that, sign me up. I'm down. But yeah, that sounds
I'm
fun.
sure like after school programs or like, young boys and girls club or stuff like this, I'm sure they would be like ecstatic about that kind of program.
I think that having your social media presence and being on the show and everything is in itself a mentorship and inspiration to young boys growing up to see like, hey, this guy, like, he's into sports, but like he's also into art. And I feel like that's already like making a huge impact on people that get exposure to you as an artist.
I think so too. I honestly was going to say the same thing. I love it.
Yep.
All right, guys. So We have a little person in mind here for our giveaway. So I'm going to first explain to you the awesome coupon code that we have for you for Moss Epoxies this week, and then we'll go right into that. So this week, you can use the code Blake McFarland, and Matt will put it up on our screen because he's awesome. You can use that and get 20% off plus free shipping. Blake has just been such an awesome supporter of the Moss community, of the Maker Meetup community. We want to support him back, and this is our way of doing so. He's a great guy, and just thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah.
We all love this. This is great.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me, and thank you to Moss and the whole community and people that make that thing run, because they have been super helpful and you guys have been amazing. Thank you for welcoming me on the Maker Meetup. It's been absolutely amazing. So again, I'm super grateful to be here, and thanks for having me.
You are awesome. Thank you.
The giveaway announcement and then the challenge, and then we're out of here, you guys.
Okay, so y'all know that we always pick one of you guys as the winner, whoever interacts with us in the comments and asks the awesome questions. And you guys had like incredible questions today, but our winner is
Drum roll. Everyone put little drum roll emojis.
Rebecca Shem.
Yes. So
I hope that you say your last name, but send us a DM. You started off our questions incredible, and we love you guys all for the questions. But Rebecca, send us a DM, and we're gonna get that to you. Also, James, send us a DM, and we're gonna get that special resin because of Mr.
Blake over there.
Awesome.
392 flashpoint.
392, guys.
Fun fact, we'll quiz you guys later on that.
Yeah.
Trivia.
Trivia.
Yeah.
Remember that answer, you guys. Next week, I'm hosting trivia night on Instagram. So,
Yes.
Be ready.
I'm excited. Awesome, guys. So our challenge for this week is something a little bit different. It's going to build upon the challenge for the season. The challenge for the season, like Ronnie mentioned earlier, is to step out of your comfort zone and make something that has been in the back of your head or in your notebook for a long time. You never really got around to making it, and you really want to try it. And it's going to be hard, but you can do it. So that was the challenge. So for this week, to build upon that challenge, I'm going to read my notes because I know I'll butcher it if I don't. So we want you to share what has influenced your large project that you're working on for this season and how you feel your past experiences have maybe shaped your small business or your choice of project. And just based on learning what we learned from Blake, like a lot of our past has influenced projects that we do now. For example, I do a lot of oceans. The ocean is my life. So and you can just explain this in a caption of an Instagram post. It can be in a reel, a voiceover, or just something small. Like it doesn't have to be like a wordy post or anything. It can be in the caption. That it goes with your aesthetic on Instagram. So to be entered into that challenge for the next week, we will feature a couple of you next week. Sorry, this elevator music in the background is throwing me off. Just don't forget to hashtag the Maker Meetup so you can see it and tag us.
I was just going to say that. So to make sure we see your post, guys, hashtag the Maker Meetup as always.
Yes. All right. Well, Blake, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, Blake.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
So we
Thank you, everybody, for joining.
I think that's all. We can just go around one more time and say our handles. Don't forget, you can also follow the Maker Meetup on Instagram, and you can go to themakermeetup.com and be a part of the community on there as well. I'm Haley Nolan from artist Haley Nolan, HaleyNolan.com. You can find me anywhere. Just me up. Annie.
Me? Guys, I'm Annie from Annie's Art Studio. You can find me on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube. I have a YouTube video coming out tomorrow, so make sure you check it out. Annie'sArtStudio.com. All the Annie's Art Studio everywhere.
And I'm Kelly. You can find me at KellyBelly62 or on the Moss Instagram and on their blog because I'm the creation developer over there. So we have some really cool content coming up. So stay tuned.
And I'm Ronnie Langley from rll.designs or Ronnie Langley on YouTube and TikTok. You can find me on those platforms. And Blake, one last time, tell us where you can find us and where they should ask you to make cool sculptures for them.
So I'm Blake, BM Sculptures on YouTube and Instagram, and then my website, blakemcfarland.com.
Awesome.
Good night, guys.
Bye,
You're
everyone.
amazing. Thanks, everyone.